Good morning. Today is October 10th. It is about 48 degrees. We're in the Green Mountains heading to around the backside of the Five Bogs area. We're going to go follow up on some activity from the other week. That's where we're going to start. The day is young. We'll see where it takes us from there, but we're going to get moving. Thanks. Okay, we are at the first pond and making our approach through the trees here, reacquainting ourselves with the lovely grabber bushes that I love so. I'll forego the rant at this time though. Enough of my videos have been polluted by that, even though they are not my favorite. So once I get through all this charming undergrowth, it opens up a little bit though, and we can get down to the water line and check the mud for any track patterns. Kind of a repetitious thing from a few weeks ago, but here's the thing about research. Sometimes it is tedious because you need to be consistent and follow through on things. I have brought the drone, but like so many times before this, the wind has kicked up quite a bit, and we'll see how that goes. I have both, so one's better in the wind than the other, but the wind is actually kind of, if I had to guess, it's somewhere in the 15-mile-an-hour range. So this is where we're headed. If the sun will get the hell out of the way and stop interfering with my shot. And we're almost in. A lot of the mud seems to be covered by leaf litter at this point though, so that's kind of a detriment. And I've wandered right into the muddy spot because I'm sinking into it. So I guess this is the easiest way in through the ferns. Actually, we're going to go this way. That flattens out nicely too. Well, looks like it did anyway. It's probably all mud. Or not. But let's get out in here. God forbid there's ever a moose here when I walk in. Which probably would help if I shut the hell up. But they probably would hear me crunching through this crap anyway. Damn it. This is kind of interesting. The fallen bark and all this. Going up from there all the way up there. So that all being scratched off like that. Interesting. Wonder if that's bullwinkle. Because that goes up quite a ways. I'm going to break all these little things before I trip on them and impale my leg. That's all I need. Oh, it's that tree. Suddenly heard this odd noise. Turns out it's a tree making whining sounds in the wind. Okay, so we're going to kind of try to pop out here. Not exactly even ground, but it's not too bad either, just a little rocky. Make our way over this way. And we're out in this. And do a quick check for tracks in the immediate vicinity. Kind of looking at this. I don't know, all these little punji sticks for the... And what do we have? Looking for... God forbid this stuff is ever even terrain. So here's the test. If I step in this, you make something that looks like, pardon that, like that, and it's pretty obvious. So something bigger and heavier than me with the same shaped foot is going to be obvious. We have this. And hold on. That looks to be a moose double stepper or something similar, so. So I don't think that is. We're going to move along the shoreline though and continue looking. And then if the wind can stay at the same level, we'll maybe try a launch from here with the more resistant of the two, wind resistant of the two drones. Yeah. That's not encouraging for the drone. I don't know if you can hear that, but it is quite the breezy day. Interesting. Okay, I did find this, and too much. There's that, and you can barely see next to that. I just literally stepped here, and notice how it kind of goes back into shape because of the water. So that actually could be something interesting. I am going to stop for a second to take a picture of that. So bear with me while I fumble with multiple cameras. Alright, so the day's not a total loss at this point. Now the key to look for here is to find duplicates of that in the mud with stride length that would indicate a walking pattern, but I'm not seeing that yet, if I will at all. All that is at this point is an interesting artifact, and here's a nice little mud patch that would yield some nice potential. So at the risk of getting my feet wet, I am going to look in here. Although one would think, unless something's completely impervious to the cold, walking through mountain pond water in bare feet this time of year would kind of suck, but that's conjecture on my end. But let's walk around the corner, and there's more muddy spots around here, or there have been in the past, and see what we got over here. Looking down here, I don't see anything obvious. I'm also looking for changes in the debris since the last time I was here, which was over a month ago. So what's interesting though are these beaver sticks, if I'm getting that. Hold on. Get it. There you go. With these beaver sticks and these tips like this, they look like all manicured. It's hard wood too, so testimony to beaver teeth. So let's get around this. Slate mud in here, but harder ground too. Nice there we go. Nice little woodland setting if the camera will stay in the setting you want it to. Well, there you go. And make our way over here. Got some deer tracks over there. Hardly shocking, but good for telling the consistency of the mud if you find something like too much. Right there. And for comparison with my foot. So this is another thing that's, hold on. Toes? That is definitely a photo. That's a definitely photograph. I'm gonna actually take a break for this for a second. Okay, so I'm looking at this artifact again, and I'm looking closer at what could be toes. And for the skeptical mindset, this could actually be a bear double step, because I'm looking at the toe-looking things. That could actually be bear claws. So let's take another look here. This damn camera does what I want. If you look closer, those actually look like bear claws now. Right there. So that might be an explanation too, but still interesting. This pond is pretty much far away from any given area where you're going to have a lot of people though, so it wouldn't be surprising to see any assortment of wildlife native to the area come through here. So you have to look. There's interesting. It looks like a kicked up rock though. God forbid the wind dies down to get the drone in the air real quick. It's an interesting thing that looks like potentially coyote print. But we're not here to catalog normal wildlife. We're here looking for tracks of our big friend. Looking through the mud here. And again, we find this kind of a weird shaped thing. I mean, my foot for comparison again. And no clear definition per se, but there we go. We are finding signs of something, though, so that's interesting. Let's see what else we got. We walk over towards this big pile of... The camera needs to behave. Starting to wonder if the camera develops a personality after you've had it for a few years. So, walking over here. You didn't hear that. I know, that wasn't professional, but... Okay, this is a most definite moose track right here. This one's probably worthy of showing. No, go this way. My foot and the moose. That was made by a fairly big moose, I think. And here is another one. And there, another one. He was grazing right in here. So, definite proof of bullwinkle. And again, that tree back there without all the bark on it, I wonder if there was like a big bull that wanted to exercise his headgear against the bark or something. And so, but we have found some interesting things. Like I said, I have some pictures to review later. I mean, they're possibly explainable. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of Bigfoot just yet. But they are of a unique enough shape that they warrant some kind of down here. That's all overgrown shite. So this is, excuse me, where we start turning back and double checking to see if we missed anything coming through. And then I debate whether I get over to the Beaver Hill over there and attempt a drone launch to, if nothing else, get the fall colors up here for the sake of some nice things to add to the video, but we'll see. The reason I'm concerned is because even though the drone is fairly wind resistant, the fact that it's gusty wind makes it not consistent in the amount of wind speed. So that's where the unpredictable happens. And I really don't want to fish my drone out of this pond, or God forbid go walking way over into that stuff over there to fish it out of the trees. But I guess the other test for technical difficulties potentially is the fact that I forgot to charge the gimbal camera that I have right now, so see how battery life goes. I'm going to basically leave it on in case I come across something interesting. Other than that, I'm going to probably take a segment break when we get over towards the drone and figure out what I'm going to do with that. And then we will move along. I don't know if I covered this one or not. I might have. And again, you have the tip of this thing over here where you have toes, bear claws, something. Again, size comparison. Doesn't really look like a bear paw though, that's the thing, nor does it look like a double step. So I'm just going to label it as interesting and not conjecture past a point, but it does, I mean, it ends in little nubbiny looking things that, you know, it's a track of some kind. I mean, it could be a bear. That other one did look like it had bear claws though, so. And that's why black bear is a contender, because they are all throughout here. And haven't seen one in this part. I've seen one in local vigilance. I haven't seen one here, as I jinxed myself with that. But the shape of the first one did look more, now that I think about it, it looks more like bear claws. But I have a photo to go back and overanalyze later. And so I can kind of look at it there when I'm not focused on other things. But and no, the coughing is not COVID, it's allergies. Yeah, they've been kind of rough this year, if we're being honest. So, kind of wondering if it's worth putting the drone up. Well, I'm going to walk over here. And actually at this point I am going to take a segment break to save battery on the camera. And we'll come back in a bit. Oops. We're at location 2. I had an interesting flight with the drone. It did fairly well considering the wind. Didn't get taken, didn't crash into the pond or the trees, so that's a plus. And we did get it back. So we have that much dronage, if nothing else, and a couple of interesting potential track finds. And we're at another pond now. Hopefully we'll have some luck here too. Kind of view of that. I'm going to walk around to the corner here. Once I get a good view, we're going to take a break for some photos. And then we'll start looking for tracks here. So bear with us for a sec. A lot of this is like under grass, so this might not be as fruitful as the other one. You have too much cover in this section anyway. But we're going to look. Excuse me. Ground's a little harder here too, so that might impact track depth if I find any. Nothing there. Yeah, so if anything else today, I'm happy I didn't crash the drone in the wind. I knew I was taking a risk in putting it up in the air. And even at 300 feet, it basically held position in a decently strong wind pretty well. The gusts, I think, today are supposed to be like 15 miles an hour or so, maybe a little more. And I've had the Spark up in heavier winds than that, but I've also had it get buffeted around pretty badly by the wind too. So there is an upward limit, and once you're beyond like 20 miles an hour, that's when things can get interesting when you're flying, and you kind of have to have a plan to bring him down quick should he have trouble. So far, other than a lovely pond, I am not really finding as much over here. Okay, so I'm determining I just found an old track of mine last time I was here. So I would explore the possibility otherwise, but I just put a track next to it and it's literally identical, so that's me. No bear claws or other interesting things to... There is a moose track though, although I think we had moose tracks here the last time and they could be the same set. They probably are actually. Yeah, I think these are the same moose tracks, so... Yep, these are the same ones. So just to show you what I'm looking at. These right here are, those are clear and present moose tracks. So, we're going to look. If there's nothing new here, then I'm probably not going to linger. We'll move towards the south. See what we find there. So yeah, looking over here, same moose tracks really, I don't think anything else, so we'll just do a quick pan of the lovely pond area over here. There's a section over there, but as we're walking by, we're going to actually pass by the pond on the other side, so we can actually hit that there and have a look. I'm not going to go all the way around. Kind of working smarter, not harder in that regard. While I'm walking and talking though, Bigfoot community stuff, not really a lot going on that I personally have on my, nothing on my radar anyway, really. To the folks that are joining my Facebook pages and stopping by, I'll say thank you for that. Don't feel like you can't don't feel like you can't participate. Please do. The one thing I do ask is that if you are selling merchandise or something, I don't mind people sharing like books or if you did a documentary or something like that, I don't mind you doing that, but don't like post it 50 times. Because at that point you're basically spamming the group. You know, let it be once and start a thread, take questions, that kind of thing, that's fine, but you don't need to do it 50 times. That's all I ask. Other than that, you know, the same rules apply. Don't be a troll, don't be a jerk. Play nice. If you are somebody of the woo variety, I don't tend to be, so you may, if you make claims of that variety, get questions or be questioned. Civil debate is fine, but, you know, have a thick skin, be adults, and don't scream bullying and all that just because not everybody's buying what you're selling, because that does happen. So, enough about that. That said, I have a group for every, group for every state that I try to be active in or have a presence listening for reports in, which is basically Jersey, New York, New England, and parts of Eastern Canada. And if I'm being honest, typically like Vermont and New York, to some degree New Hampshire are the most active areas for the most part, but trends change over time, I guess. Well, we're going to make our way back out. No real luck at this pond, so we're going to move on. And at this point, so I have to navigate through some undergrowth. One last look at, I guess we'll just call it pond number 2. And we are going to take a segment break and navigate through the woods. So we are approaching pond number 3. I'm just going to number them because that's so scientific. So a little backdrop here as to what happened a couple weeks ago. As I was down on the water line where I'm about to go, off in this direction, something large was in the woodwork. And when I say large, I mean minimally bear, moose, or other. And it stopped at one point when I was listening, and there was one singular stomp, a loud, very audible stomp, and then silence. My contention is bears and moose don't usually elicit such behavior, so that's why it's interesting. And that's why I'm following up in this area today to see if there's something that doesn't really enjoy my presence or not. So we'll see what happens. If not, we're going to go down here and check real quick for any sign of tracks in the immediate water line down here. If I can get through these damn grabbers and all this loveliness without any nonsense. Let's kind of get down here into this more clear area and have a look for our best approach. Last week we were over there. This week I think this looks a lot easier. We'll hop that log and just go down right to the water line. That looks a little bit easier. So, as I then stumble and fall over undergrowth and break my leg, or not. But don't grab my pack, you bastard. Okay, so from here, we get down to basically the middle of this ginormous pond. And one day, not today, once it thins out a little more, if it does, we're going to try to get around the back side over there. Today I have a couple of targets and the like, but before the snow comes down here, I'm probably going to try to make a run to the back side over there and have a look at what it's like over there. Because the one thing that got away from me this year was, or at least so far, was the fact that I'd rather get out here and give you a visual directly. That would be more, it's the easiest way to get out here. Go over here. Or up on this lovely hill right here. We'll come right down on the water line. I will go down to the water line and hopefully not get wet. Okay, so the little thing that sticks out right there, we were going to do a night op out on that. But logistics and the other person coming, we're not going to get there in time, so it didn't work out that way. And it would be nice though to get over the corner there and into the back stuff out there and see what goes on over there. The problem is when you get to the corner over there, there's a whole lot of like really big down deadfall that piles up on itself. So it's like a full, I'm not today, like I said, I have a mixed agenda. Another day though, where I'm just focused on this one area. You're going to have to figure out a way around that and then navigate around that back in there. And that's like a full planning session in its own right. So this is not looking like it's conducive for tracks. So we're just going to take a quick look and grab some photos while we're here. And there's not really a place to put the drone up, and frankly, if it went down in this, you're screwed because you're not going to get it back. You can see how windy it is. So we're going to take some photos, do a segment break, and then move to the south. Briefly north, then south. Okay, we're, as promised, kind of on the other side of the pond. This being pond number 2 from the other side. Making our way down to the water line here. It looks a little grassier here though. So, but that being said, we didn't find anything on the other side, so I just thought I'd check here for the sake of being thorough, and it does look all grassy. A little mud, but I'm not seeing anything. So, if nothing else, this is the other side of the pond, and then the part that we were on is over in that clump, over beyond that clump of trees over there. So we are going to head again north a little bit and then south, and we'll come out in the proper 5 bogs and continue in our day. I just thought I would take a quick look here, but I'm not really seeing anything of any track-like nature in the mud other than my own leavings here, but don't see anything, just water bugs. All right, although I did see a garter snake today, so I did see some form of wildlife, so there's that. Very quick segment just to pop in here as promised, and then we're going to move north and south, like I said, and then I'll shut up about it.